Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So more has come out about the man caught in the women's locker room at Gold's gym, the gym that threw out the female who accosted him for being where he didn't belong. Gold's gym treated Tish Hyman like she was the criminal by banning her and cancelling her membership. But it turns out the man who entered into her locker room was indeed the one who was a criminal, a convicted felon. Details about his conviction were released yesterday: drug trafficking and disorderly conduct. But what is deeply disturbing, even more disturbing than that, is that he has a conviction for DV. It's now been revealed that that DV was perpetrated against his ex-wife. And he calls himself Alexis. His real name is Grant Freeman. Alexis just happens to be the name of his ex-wife. This isn't unheard of. I've heard about this sort of thing going on before. We've talked about the swimmer who took his sister's name, and now we have a domestic abuser who has taken his ex-wife's name, just to rub salt into the wounds even further. And this is who Gold's Gym has taken up for. Not only did they allow him into the locker room, a convicted domestic abuser, allowing him into the locker room, they punished the woman for objecting to this person being in there. Absolutely disgusting. And these policies that allow men into women's locker rooms are endangering women, are giving predators access to women and girls. Trans person accused of exposing self in women's locker room was convicted of brutally beating ex-wife before taking her name. I've noticed the language of New York Post has changed a little. No more she, her pronouns, huh? The transgender person caught in the viral Los Angeles gym bathroom row had been convicted of assaulting their now ex-wife while living in Ohio as a man, before taking the victim's first name as their own. Alexis Black, you mean Grant, ran afoul of women at a gym in Beverly Hills, including singer-songwriter Tish Hyman, who accused them of exposing themselves and harassing her in the locker room. I can't do this. Just say he. I appreciate New York posters. Come away from she, her pronouns. This is progress. Just say he. This is a man who beat up his ex-wife. You don't need to try and be neutral with the language. I can't read this. I'll use my own words as much as possible because this is ridiculous. But again, I'm glad New York Post is reporting on this. Black, formerly Grant Freeman, pleaded guilty in 2022 to savagely beating his ex-wife, Alexis Freeman, causing a compound fractured jaw, among other serious injuries. And this is who they've allowed into the women's locker room. This is who they're punishing a woman over. What if he had turned violent on Tish? Because Tish definitely defended herself. What if he had turned violent? What if she had hit a nerve and gone that little bit too far with what she said to him? She took a risk calling him sir to begin with. We've seen how they can get when you call them sir. What if he had turned violent against her? What would Gold's Gym have done in that situation? You're so worried about pandering to these people. I don't care what the state law says. Tish is now at a gym that protects women, that Joey Swole helped her find. If that gym can do it, the gym is also in Southern California. So if that gym can do it, Gold's Gym has no excuse. They're doing it because they want to, because they care more about the men. They care more about the perpetrators than they do the women, the vulnerable women, by the way, trapped in a locker room with these people. Did Tish give permission or consent to this individual seeing her in a state of undress? No. That in itself means that Gold's Gym has to be held accountable. That in itself is a violation. And then finding out after that this guy is a domestic abuser, coming on TMZ, smiling with lipstick on, trying to act all girly. Duper's delight, I might say. That's what we saw there on display. Tish said, "While I am traumatized, he is having a party, loving the attention. No woman who has been through a traumatic experience is going to be coming on TMZ laughing and giggling for the majority of the interview like that. Absolutely disgusting. He broke her jaw. And of course, he is being treated like the vulnerable one. He is the vulnerable one in the eyes of these people. In the eyes of Gold's Gym, he is the vulnerable one when he is actually the predator who has the ability to do some serious harm. Carl Grant Freeman caused serious physical harm to the victim. The victim suffered a compound fractured mandible, which resulted in her needing surgery. And this was according to court documents from Hamilton County, Ohio. Can you imagine him taking her name? What kind of sick, twisted person is he? Taking her name. We should never call him Alexis. Never. His name is Grant. Black was sentenced to a year in prison, minus time served. What? Ohio, you need to do better. Black had been convicted of both DV and drug trafficking in the past and has faced a slew of other charges, including resisting arrest. Records show. Look at this mess. They always present themselves in an over-sexualized, version of a woman, probably inspired by things they've been watching, if you know what I mean. Magazines that they've been exposed to or whatever they've been exposed to on the internet. Probably inspired by that. So this is a man who was married to a woman. I mean, is the guy even gay? So you mean to tell me that he doesn't enjoy seeing women naked in a locker room? This guy was married to a woman, and now California and Gold's Gym has given him access to the women's locker room.
The truth in the moment is far from what she is purporting it to be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had women in the locker room comforting me because of how aggressive she was towards me.
Those women who supposedly, he claims, that women comforted him when Tish was aggressive towards him. If that's true, I don't even believe it, but if that's true, those women must feel pretty stupid now. Comforting the predator, someone who's been convicted of DV, who broke his wife's jaw. That's who you're comforting, protecting against the angry black woman, as he implied in that ridiculous interview. Tish said he came across as unhinged, made a fool of himself. And I absolutely agree. And I'm glad we got to see what he's all about. And this is who Tish is supposed to feel comfortable seeing her undressed. She's supposed to feel comfortable because, he identifies as a woman. You don't know who you're allowing into these locker rooms, Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness, who you're allowing to have access to women. You have no idea who these people are. It's not like there's a background check before somebody is given an ID, a gym ID that says female. These gyms don't even have the decency to do that, to make sure that the man they're allowing into the women's locker room isn't a RAPIST. Black is currently transitioning, whatever that means. He proudly declared that he told Tish that he's on hormones. So that's supposed to make it okay. This gender ideology is attracting the likes of Grant, who love being told that their desires are more important than the rights of women. They love it. And you idiots fell for it, Gold's Gym. The people that comforted him, supposedly. I don't even believe it. You fell for it. You've been had. All sorts have been allowed into the women's locker room, throwing women to the wolves. And they're still giving themselves a pat on the back. These organizations, these gyms and spas or wherever, still giving themselves a pat on the back because they're being inclusive. So inclusive, you're allowing criminals who have been convicted of crimes against women into the women's locker room. Tish has faced all sorts of verbal abuse from these people. He called her the B word. So he was the one who was aggressive towards her. Pretty creepy using your ex-wife's name, one commenter wrote. Stop invading women's spaces. You frighten women at their most vulnerable by going into their changing rooms and bathrooms. So basically, it's a big sausage fest in the women's locker room as a gesture of inclusivity. Yep, inclusivity at all costs, apparently. At all costs. Even at the cost of endangering women. So is Gold's Gym going to apologise for endangering Tish Hyman? Are they going to apologise for endangering her? Not only endangering her, punishing her, because she had the nerve to react to being in that vulnerable position, to feeling the danger, to knowing that this was dangerous, something that she has said several times.
It's dangerous!
And she's 100% correct. This is dangerous and it needs to stop. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves and God willing, I will see you in the next video.